So remember when I said I had questions about the Alpine technique and why it made such a big difference? I'm going to try and explain it and what I found out recently. And the acronym was the APVD, and it stands for Acoustic Power Volume Density, and it's just another fancy label for a technique which has been around for a few years or a decade or so. So let's get into it.
Let's go back to the Alpine guy, Eric, and he'll go through his sweeps again. I'm just forwarding him a bit. So, yeah, all of the cabin, and I actually asked a few questions about it in my previous video, such as why the dashboard, putting the phone right against the dashboard there, and also in the manual it says in the leg area just in front of the shins, but not all the way up the dashboard. And I asked myself all those things, and I also asked one more question: why not the back of the cabin for sedans? And now that I've understood the actual science that they're using, which is from a company called Eilix. Eilix they actually have a press release page where they describe their partnership with Alpine Optim8 systems. So I'll answer those 3 or 4 questions straight away, and it's all about measuring the frontal space of a speaker from plane number 1, plane number 2, up to any amount of planes. As long as you do it evenly, you're creating a measurement grid to capture the energy of the speaker plane. So when he's doing the dashboard, he's actually doing in front of the speaker plane for the tweeters. So a lot of people have tweeters right there on the A pillar. So, and by sweeping all the way to next to his left ear, he's also capturing the first plane, which may involve speakers that are halfway up the door. And also doing the shins, you're doing the front of the plane of the woofers. And by not sticking it up, all the way up under the dashboard, that plane would not be representative of any front power of any of the speakers. And that answers the third question, or one of the questions. Why not into the back seats? And the answer is the front seats would probably be shading the energy of that measurement for the speaker group that you're trying to do. And I assume that it's doing it all the way for both sets of speakers. And he didn't actually break it down, but that's what I did, and I got a very even result. So you'd probably do, as you can see from the first still, the amount of planes that they're measuring. And if anyone's going to zoom in on that, I'll zoom in it for you. No, they don't describe it exactly. It's one measurement. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in that graphic. I think he does roughly 4 or 5 slices of the cabin. So unless I have anything to add straight away onto that, there's all of the Eilix documentation that you can read. And they're talking about the late arrival sound is more critical to us than the first arriving sound, and the energy is contained in all of those slices, and we recognize that slice and the after sound as the one exact slice in time, which is what I was thinking of at the time. They do go a lot on about their filters. The filters is kind of like a secondary aspect of this, and as to the quality of the equalization, but the main part is the capturing part. What they're capturing is the energy, and the energy is not the pressure. So the sound pressure is only one field of the measurement, and they break that down here with an analogy to voltage and current in a power system, of an electrical system. That's how you measure power, is you make an equation of the velocity and the current, and in the acoustical sense, the sound pressure is only the voltage, which is only one field that can tell you about the energy, the potential energy in the air, and the particle velocity is the current, which is, you need both of them to tell you the acoustic power that is in the air. So yeah, let that sink in for a bit. So they're trying to measure the air energy, or the acoustic energy, the acoustic power, that we'll get to the acronym, the acoustic power volume density. And then, needless to say, I did a lot of research into acoustic density of some people call it the sound density, and some people call it energy density, and there's a lot of papers written about generalized energy density for like measuring noise in industrial settings. And they say that once you know the general energy density of a room, you can safely assume at any point in the room that you'll be within, a percent or so of knowing what the actual noise is in that room. So I think I'll leave that there. And I made this funny little graphic, and we'll put that at the start of the video. And what else? There are other companies that have done it before in studio monitors, and they called it something different, but they did use the measurement plane for the frontal part of a speaker. These people just did one slice, and they use FIR inverse filters, blah blah blah. So what I'm suggesting is that we can use the measurement plane idea, and that this is in the industrial world. You can find the acoustic energy around objects by using, this is like a industry standard, like for machines that make noise in the real world. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I read about, and my brain exploded a fair bit, but I got the general gist of it, that people have been doing it since 2009, 2010 and onwards. And there's even been papers written in the late 80s and 90s about acoustic energy, and that whole voltage versus current, pressure versus kinetic in the air. So that's that, and hope that adds a few little beans to your soup, and you can keep cooking.